Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. So just want to quickly start on the weekly here. You can see we had a bit of a range bar on the weekly, off the moving averages and a crossover. This is a big zone that we're in at the moment, and I'm just going to use the high of the week for that. There we go. If you look to the left, you can see all these weekly tails in this area. So this is a massive area. We do have the oscillators crossed over and pointing to the upside, so that's kind of bullish. But for all intents and purposes, we need to start, figuring out is this a rejection area that we're going to get a big move down to find support further down, or is it just we're going to get another attempt at this area? So looking at what's going on at the moment, more than likely an attempt to the upside again. Now you can see last week was down, big up, and down again. So a bit of a range bar that formed. The outermost levels, and that's going to be the top and bottom of last week, are two areas to pay attention to. So you need to keep those levels drawn in, because if they break either one of those, that is going to trigger a pretty solid move in the direction of that break. So looking at the hour, you can see we broke above on Thursday, came back on Friday, just resting here in the moving averages. Look at our oscillators. When they start separating like that, you're always worried about a crossover. So when they start crossing over and pointing down, you have a fairly solid move to the downside. So that is pretty much what I'm expecting, to be honest, if I look at all the markets right now. Really confused. So there's no real direction. So what you're going to find is people looking for certain areas. And I think options expiry options expiry levels are going to be pretty critical this month. And I think I'll try and get that together for one of the videos closer to the options expiry date, so we can just have a look at that. But what I suspect is 14,583 is going to offer resistance, and then we're looking for a move to the downside here. Bottom of range at 14,300 area. So that's kind of the view that I have at the moment. 15 minutes is all over the place. You can see below the moving averages, above the moving averages, no clear trend. So that's one thing that you do need to be very, very cautious of. There is no clear trend. So oscillators group to the upside. If you're long on something like this, you'd be moving your stop loss up and watching it like a hawk, because something is brewing, and it's more than likely a rejection of a level to the downside. So be cautious. I think one last thing is we do have a cluster of support here, and you can see we did come and test it on Friday. So that, I suppose, if you just raise that downside break to here, 14,461, start breaking below that, and retest that, then that would be a move to the bottom of the bigger range. At the moment, I think if you look to the left, there is quite a bit going on here, which could offer resistance, and I think that's what you should be looking for. Also take note that at the moment we are 0.5% up from where we closed, so this is a gap on the normal charts. So be careful. I think I'm not interested in going long here, definitely not. I think this is more likely a case of just coming up to find an area to reject, and then we're going to have another attempt at this area, 14,461. If we get below that, then you're looking at 14,300 area, 14,308 for a move to the downside. If it does come back and find support here at 14,461, pay attention to your oscillators. If you start seeing engulfing bars, inside bars, pin bars, pretty much a good opportunity to buy into. The other level that may just come into play is this zone here. That's where the moving averages are. That's 14,507 or 14,500. So a pullback onto that, and we hold that, then I would expect a attempt at this area at 14,594. If we get through that, you've got a gap up here that I suspect would close, and then that would be the extreme level to the upside, which would be 14,686. So whichever way you trade this, be very careful. Small position sizes, tight stop losses. You are in a range, so there's no clear indication that you're going to be just breaking through everything to the upside or the downside. And when you start looking at all the levels that we've drawn in now, anything can happen. So be very, very, very careful. Anyway, that's my view on the DAX. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.